So the next tip, number 2, is it's really important. So Alice, I think that, oh, it's not my style. Okay. So it's really important to buy in case you have an accident or miss your flight. So there is something that you should buy in advance before you go traveling, in case you, for example, your flight is cancelled, or you lose something, or you have some kind of bad experience where you might need to go to hospital. Insurance, traveler insurance, okay. So Sunglim, insurance it's a little bit general because we have so many different kinds of insurance. We have like house insurance, car insurance. So yeah, Kona, we wouldn't say traveler insurance. Usually, as Rini said and Sunglim said, very good, we would say just travel insurance. Okay. So travel insurance, if you are not familiar with travel insurance, I'm sure most of you have heard of it before. Travel insurance is a plan to protect you from losing money. Okay, so I'm curious, if you always buy travel insurance before a flight, right? Yes. If you don't always buy travel insurance before a trip, right? No. So I'm curious to see how many of you have to be honest, how many of you always get travel insurance? Oh, Sunglim, you told us this story before. Yeah, you broke your arm in Finland and you didn't have travel insurance. So I hope you always buy it now. A bodyguard. Good answer, Cohen. Apple, you always get travel insurance. Very good. Do any of you not? Yeah, so Sunglim, if you have a bad experience, unfortunately, you learn the hard way how important travel insurance is. So in the past, I often didn't buy it. I would just kind of forget, or when I was younger, sometimes I thought, oh, I don't have enough money, I'm not going to buy it. And I was very lucky because 2 years ago, I went to Bali. And the night before I went to Bali, I had a strange feeling and I thought, I should probably buy travel insurance. I just have a weird feeling. And when I went to Bali, I rented a motorbike, like a small motorbike, a scooter. And I was driving very slowly and a truck hit me. I came off the motorbike and hit my head. I was wearing a helmet, but I hit my head here and I woke up in hospital. So luckily 2 tourists saw this happening, like because the truck drove off and left me. So 2 tourists saw this happening. They brought me to the hospital because I was like unconscious. When I woke up in the hospital, I didn't even know my name. I had no idea where I was. But luckily I had travel insurance. So since then, I always buy travel insurance. Catherine, you don't buy it? So I hope that you've learned from Sunglim and I that it's really important to buy it. So Hanse, you have a rare medical condition, so it's really, really important for you to get it. Yeah, my travel stories are so crazy. So I called my mom from a hospital in Bali, like, oh my gosh. So it was such a crazy and scary experience. But Bali was a very nice place to recover from a motorcycle accident. And luckily it could have been a lot worse. So I heard in Bali, one tourist dies every day in a motorcycle accident. So if you do go to Bali, do not rent a motorbike, please. So I learned the hard way. Okay, so travel insurance. The next one is number 3, how long did it take to recover? So luckily I just, like 30 minutes after I went to the hospital, Sunglim, I could start to remember things. And they said, they checked everything and they said, okay, you can go back to your hotel. And I just had like a lot of cuts on my legs. So every 2 days I had to go to the hospital to keep changing the dressing on my legs. So that was the main problem. So I kind of couldn't really do much when I was there, but I stayed for 1 more week. So the next one is, don't only visit the popular tourist spots. Try to go off the So this is an expression we use. So a lot of people, when they go traveling, they just go to TripAdvisor, for example, and find the 5 most popular sightseeing places. I was very lucky. And so a lot of people just like going to like the trendy spots or the popular areas. But I recommend going off the So we're looking for 2 words that form an expression. So maybe, for example, if you go to Paris, a lot of people go to like Notre Dame Cathedral, the Eiffel Tower. But if you try to go to somewhere that's not so popular, we have a special word. Kathleen, we wouldn't say residential area, because residential area just means a place where a lot of people live. So that would sound a little bit strange. So I'm curious to see if any of you have heard of this expression or will know the answer. So try to go off the I don't see any correct answers yet. So Apple, we wouldn't say go off the country. Go off the tourist spots. That would sound, we would say stay away from the tourist spots. But it would sound a little bit strange. Off the map. So if we say off the map or off the grid, it means like to a totally isolated area. So maybe I go to like Mongolia and I go to the middle of nowhere. There are no people. We would say off the grid. So that's a good one, Cohen. But the answer I was looking for was go off the beaten track. So we say go off the beaten track. So if I say go off the beaten track, it's just an expression that we use. It means go to a place where not many people usually go. So if, for example, my friends come to Korea, they say, okay, I want to go to the palace. I want to go to Noryangjin Market. I want to go to Lotte World Tower. And I say, but everybody goes to these places. Let's go off the beaten track. So I try to bring them to places that aren't so touristy. So usually I bring them to places like, for example, Puchang Matcha. So like drinking beer tents where there are a lot of local people. So I try to get them to experience like not just the touristy side of Korea, but places where local people actually go. So Sunglim, you did this in London. So we could say, Alice, go to a hidden place. But the most common expression here would be go off the beaten track. Okay. So number 4. Oh, you did a walking tour? That's great, Sunglim. Walking tours can be great. So number 4, my 4th piece of advice. Always at markets, don't accept the price you're given. So especially like maybe they'll say like, oh, $50. And it's really important not to accept the first price and try to get the price down. So you can say bargain at markets, but there's a more specific word, Sunglim, that we often use. Negotiate sounds a little bit too formal, Kathleen, and we have got the correct answer from Cohen. So haggle. So we can't say discount, Apple. We can say get a discount or try to get a discount. Bargain is also good, but the best answer that we usually use in relation to markets is haggle. So we would say always haggle. So Juhan, good, but not haggling. Not always haggling, always haggle, present simple tense. So to haggle means to try to get the price down. So to negotiate the price of something. So negotiate sounds a little bit too formal because usually we say negotiate in terms of business. But if it's like a personal thing where you're buying something just for yourself, we would say haggle. Beg, Cohen, if you're really desperate, you could beg. But yeah, so haggle would be the best word here. So this is really, really important. Okay, number 5. This one, especially if you go to Europe, this is so important. Always hold on to your belongings and beware of these people are often very skilled at stealing things. So beware of, be careful of these people. So we're looking for a word that relates to a group of people who are very skilled at stealing things. Wow, maybe you went to Russia and North Korea? Oh my gosh, wow. Okay, so Apple says pickpocket. Is he correct? So these people. So in terms of the grammar, we're looking for plural. So Uni, I would love to hear about your experiences. Wow. Okay, Apple was very quick with this one. So the answer here is pickpockets. So we have these people, so looking for the plural. So pickpockets are often very skilled at stealing things. So pickpocket, like very literally, a person who steals from people's pockets or bags. You can also say thief. Yeah, that's also fine, Catherine, but thief is a little bit more general because if someone comes into your home and steals something, they are a thief. But more specifically, when we're traveling, when we're walking about, we would usually use the word pickpocket. So it depends how the person does it. So if the person steals something from your bag or from your pocket, we would call this person a pickpocket. And pickpocket can also be a verb. You can say, he pickpocketed me, or I was pickpocketed in the passive voice. So especially in places like Barcelona and Paris, you need to be so careful because these pickpockets are like professionals. And I think they often target like Korean people because Koreans are always very well dressed. And so they think, okay, that person probably has money. So they will try to steal from you. So it's really important. Usually I have a bag that goes around my body and I hold it when I'm in a busy place like this. So I'd like to know if you guys have had any experiences of being pickpocketed or having anything stolen when you were on vacation. So as I told you, I have had so many great experiences, but so many bad experiences also when traveling. So when I was in Argentina, I was in a busy bar with 4 friends and I checked my bag and suddenly my cell phone was gone. And my bag was around my body. It was closed, like zipped closed. And I was just dancing and I checked my cell phone had disappeared. And I said to my friend, oh, can you call my cell phone and see if anyone answers? My friend checked her bag. Her cell phone had disappeared. My other 2 friends checked their bags, cell phones gone. So in maybe 2 or 3 minutes, 4 of us had been pickpocketed. So all of our cell phones had been stolen. So these people in other countries, they are so skilled. You can watch videos of them on YouTube and it's amazing how they do things. So they often work in like pairs. So one person might come up to you and say, oh, excuse me, I'm lost. Can you help me? And easy. So have any of you had any experiences of being pickpocketed or having anything stolen when you were in another country? So if you have, please write a sentence or so explaining what happened. We're very lucky in Korea because it's so safe here, but in other countries it's not the same. So Sunglim says, a Korean guy that I met in France was stolen all the belonging in a small bag he was carrying. Yeah, this is so awful. So you can say a Korean guy had all his belongings stolen. But you can't say was stolen, all the belongings, had all of his belongings stolen. Yeah, so especially in France, you need to be so careful. So Catherine, my sister-in-law experienced that. A beautiful young lady tried to take out her purse in the Eurorail. So yeah, you need to be very careful on public transport. Oh, Kathleen, your passport in Frankfurt was pickpocketed. Oh my gosh, that is so awful, especially when someone steals your passport. It's such an awful experience. So Apple, while in New Zealand, a Maori on the bus tried to take your laptop. Oh, wow. So if you're not familiar with the word Maori, Maori are the native people from New Zealand. Okay, a guy was opening my backpack when I noticed he smiled and went away. That was very nice of him, Cohen. So yeah, you lived in Italy, so you had some experience of this. Okay. Okay, so number 6. So if you haven't been pickpocketed before, you're lucky, but be careful, especially in places like Europe and South America. So the next tip, do not change your at the airport, do it at the bank before you go. So if you change your at the airport, you can get a very bad rate. So it's better to do it at the bank. Change your name? Apple, I've never changed my name at the airport. So what should you change at the bank before you go? So there are a couple of answers that can work here. We have your, so we know that we need a noun here. Money, money, okay. Okay, so a lot of you are saying money. Kathleen, this was great. So often when we're talking specifically about the money from a country, we would say currency. So Sunglim, you can't say do not change your exchange there. You can say do not exchange your money at the airport. Okay, good. So we can say do not change your money, or a better one would be do not change your currency. Because often when we're talking about traveling and going to other countries, we talk about currency. So the money used in a particular country. So Korea's currency is the won. Okay, Britain's currency is the pound. So if you do it at the airport, you can get a really bad rate. But I was so impressed now in some of the subway stations in Korea on the airport line, I think in Gongdeok Station, in Seoul, if you are transferring over, you can quickly change your currency there. They have like a KEB Hana Bank. It's so good. Okay, so 2 more vocab questions. Carry photocopies of important, such as your passport. So come here, wait for Bongpyeong Market, local food. Oh, wow. So here we have Yunhee advertising their business. Okay. Okay, so what should you carry photocopies of? Important, such as your passport. So now I always carry photos of my passport because I had an experience where I lost it. So if you lose it and you want to apply for another one, it's a lot easier if you have a photocopy. So you can say identification, Kathleen, that's fine. And Cohen, you can also say document. So the answer I was looking here, was for document. So something a little bit more general. So the answer, carry photocopies of important documents, such as your passport. So what other important travel documents do you usually carry photocopies of? So Catherine, so we can't say important itinerary, but itinerary is another important document, yes. If you're not sure what an itinerary is, it's a written plan of your trip. And it can also be good to give this to a family member who is back in your home country in case there are any problems. Okay, airline tickets, very good. So the answer was documents, but other kind of documents would be airline tickets, your itinerary, maybe your travel insurance policy. So the policy is the part that you print out. And say carry photocopies of important missing person. So the answer here would be documents. So this is why I carry my 2 passports now, but I also carry copies of, and also visas of the countries that you are going to. Very good, Kathleen.